broadcast live.
I go 2 by 2, 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 I go.
Had I known you were there my whole life, the number of things I would have done right. Stood tall like skyscraper falls, they all woke my calling. Now I'm so involved in doing right for my own. I'm missing those who were home, plus many I never met. Lineage in our blood, ni pasa me sebele. I'm praying that we connect.
I've got a question, I was like 2 by 2. I'm gonna get to 2 by 2, but it's gonna link to that. So now I'm skipping and moving forward. You know? I mean, you talk about like 2 by 2, and I was interested, how much guidance did you get from your parents on spirituality, or isn't those a sin to, was there a role that they played in that?
Yeah. You know what, man? I can safely say to you that my parents are spiritual, but not necessarily in the context of like I said, black African spirituality isn't as a sin, you know. I mean, without beating around the bush, we know our history. We were interrupted, right? By virtue of that, it means it's so hard to hold this against our parents, to be like, you didn't know any better, you didn't teach me right. It was interrupted, right? And there's this very cool thing that's happening now where like the youngins, people like myself, for example, who are then going, well, you know what, for myself, I need this enlightenment, and therefore I'm chasing it. I'm coming back home to now teach my parents and have them understand and fill the gaps that they had now by virtue of, you understand what this healing is, bro? Like it's bigger than...
We're reversing the healing, you know what I mean?
That's exactly what...
It's not coming from the sore, it's coming from what created the sore.
Exactly, it's almost like an autocorrection, right? And But that's what it was. They've always been spiritual people, but now they're just like, okay, at least we have this somewhat holistic understanding, and it makes for, and it definitely bridges the gap between them and myself,
It's dope because it's the same thing with my mother. She's like highly church spiritual, but she'd tell you straight, you understand?
Yeah.
My father, like, can't remember a lot of things because he got old, and that's why I was like, I was asking the relationship of the parents, because I feel that we have a shortage of elders, but like you've correctly said, we cannot blame. We have a shortage of elders who can lead and teach us these things.
Yeah.
And I think we are at a stage where we are hungry to get these things.
Yeah, I think very similar to like, the dynamic of like the average black family where like your parents did everything they could, right?
Oh yeah.
And by virtue of you then now being a young man or woman in business and corporate and whatever it is, when you start earning, you don't have to be the parent to help. You understand? You don't have to be the elder to be like, it's your responsibility to assist the family. If I now, by virtue of everything that you did, all your best to put me in a position where I can do this, it's no longer about, is it the elder? It's the community now, it's the family. We're all now trying to correct what was interrupted to have this new positioning, So I think it's very similar in that nature, It's not the elder's responsibility anymore. That's not how I look at it.
No, because right now, once you get to a level of understanding, there's nothing as old.
Exactly.
It's just energy, you know.
Correct.
And I like this because these conversations are leading to the questions, and the songs at the same time.
Sure.
And when we talk about how like disruption and our parents have been moved, and they teach you everything they can.
Yeah.
Put up the floodlights for my highlight reel and hide the bloopers. You ever close your eyes to suffocate what's behind and realize you fucked around and saw the future? Put up the floodlights for my highlight reel and hide the bloopers. Cause when these moments visit in my dreams, as vivid as it may seem, I may need to play it neutral. Put up the floodlights.
The reality of life, there are times where,
you know, on highlight reel, you know, you've got like the voice note there, and so who's the lady?
So that's mom.
Oh, is that
that's
your mother?
My mom, yeah.
Oh, okay, dope. She should do voiceovers. But since I got a production company, like, you know,
hey,
vernacular
I'll
voiceovers,
connect,
keep the
bro.
money inside, yeah. You know what I mean? You got your mother, and she's talking about she never knew poverty until she moved up to Pretoria, Joburg, whatever the case be. And what happens is that, like, you know, probably where she was closer to knowing izinto zesintu, right? But then to survive in this white man's world, mele uyeke izinto zakho ufunde zabo.
There you go.
And not only ufunde zabo, good nabantwana bakho basurvive, mele ufundise abantwana bakho ezabo futhi.
Correct.
So our parents went through so much to teach us their things, to help us to survive. And which is amazing, right? And by the time we have all the things they've taught us to survive, we now evolve to people who have all the white things to survive, but we don't have the black things.
Correct. So now with everything,
and that's where all the depression starts coming in to a certain extent.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, I figure we'll probably get into that bit as well, but absolutely. I think that's, you got it right there, right? We are, again, parents doing their absolute best. They do their best, put us in a position. We then get to a higher level. Now we have to unlearn, go back and teach them. It's the weirdest of cycles, but it's necessary.
And I think that your mother's story is a parallel of, because, you know, we not be moved. It's really a parallel of what's happening in modern times, where we are chasing Gucci, we are chasing Louis, we are chasing the Porsches, the Maseratis, the Range Rovers, the houses wherever. We are chasing all these things, which are things that are not in any way rooted to who we are. These things come if they come, if they're yours also. You know, so the chase of these things makes you learn everything, whether it's through a tender, whether it's through tertiary, whether it's through, it makes you learn everything to get you to those things, and nothing to get you to know who you are.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of work to do.
Sneeing is fun, but art plays a big role. Yeah.
It's crazy, man, you know. So I also wanted to find out, you know, obviously you with Better Gang, specifically Strunas, you know, Strunasi. If you ain't gang, get the F out of the way. I was asking myself, why did you stop building that audience that you have, where you guys literally used to have the Better Gang site and you had people who subscribed? So what you to that? Why you guys stop doing that?
So, you know what I think it was more from a place of just looking at where things were evolving to, right? I remember how impactful that was in that period, right? Where we had all these subscribers, they were paying what they wanted, which was definitely cool. But what we were finding was that just in terms of engagement, people still were now moving towards social media being their primary platforms, right? And what streaming services kind of did is they lended themselves to go hand in hand with these things. And anything that was kind of disconnected from it seemed a little too disconnected, you know? I didn't want to like just keep pushing at a dying horse when I could see what the general evolution was, you know? I mean, but just the learning that came from just that alone is still stuff that we apply. I mean, a lot of things I think all I've done is I've evolved those ideas to try adapt them into other aspects of, you know, Better Gang and what we're trying to do. And I think a lot of the stuff is just like all these learning curves. Like last year with tour dates, it was, how do you put together your own tour? I know everybody I ask tells me the same thing. It's way too expensive to tour. Let me engage this thing and see how much I can learn. The answer is it's very expensive to tour.
Yeah.
But I need, you see what I mean? I need to interrogate that myself. We need to interrogate that ourselves to equip ourselves or to find a potential solution. So I can come to Slikour and be like, yo man, it's cutting in tour. I don't know if you guys tried this. And that might like unlock so much for different artists, you know? So I think at any given time, we're more interrogating things based on what we think needs to kind of move forward. Yeah.
I mean, on my favorite joint, you know, I mean, the album for me is not a one-off listen. I've listened, funny enough, you know, I also have ADHD, so when the album came out like a week or two ago, I got the link, I listened to it while I was working. So, you know, when something is dope while you're working and it doesn't disrupt you,
yeah,
that means it's cool. And the album repeated itself without me knowing, but then I knew it repeated itself because it's like, wait,
I remember this.
I heard that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wasn't like listening to, I was hearing, I wasn't listening.
Got you.
And then I listened to prepare for the interview. Now I listened, you know, and I said, you know, this is not a once-off listening album.
Yeah.
And I'm also looking forward to listening to it again, like twice, 3 times, to hear what you're saying. And I was like, damn, I know I'm gonna hear things on my 3rd or 4th listen that I would be like, shit, I never asked that question.
I almost guarantee it's gonna happen. I'm quite sure it's gonna happen. But you know, even with stuff like that, you know, this is out of the whole trilogy, this is the shortest of the albums.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that also is very intentional by virtue of saying, you know, if you want people to come back and revisit, you know, there are certain things I needed to balance out.
Yeah.
I'll be the first to say to you that Dreams Be Plenty, as dope as it was conceptually for me, I know how draining it was to put together, and also when I listen back, I know how much of a heavy listen it can be, you know, but that wasn't its design. But for what the goal was for this project, I definitely needed everything not to be that, you know. I needed it to be something where that if it starts again and loops again, you're like, let me not touch it. Let me let it. Let me let it do what it needs to do. Because again, I'm trying to get, you know, I mean, there's so much in this project that, like, again, if I speak about balance, like the sonic identity, for example, obviously this is completely different to sonically to any of my other projects. That kind of stuff comes with growth and just being like, you know, I'm in my 30s now. What is identity to me now, even as an artist, you know? And that comes off sonically, but as it's coming off sonically, I have to think about at what level are people then gonna absorb this, take it in, and it can't be too heavy if I need that to happen, you know? So, and granted, a lot of these things were more theory in our heads, but seemingly from what people are saying to me, we executed.
Yeah. No, it's, bro. It's you look, even like previous, you do things that are, I think people, they need to do like a library of the shit that you say. You know what I mean? I'm being real. It's just that I was hoping that if we were in another country, even the most mainstream artists, if they were like real, like listening to hip hop, they need, when they hear this, they gotta go, oh, okay. That's, you know, it's that album where you get like I'll use a random example. Though Jay-Z, yes, he's dope, but Jay-Z knows that, but like, that Black Thought, or, you know, it's like, you know, it's by default that, like, you know, I know how dope he is. I know I can't compete with it. I got more money, I got more shows, I got this. If you like into the culture, you're able to go, Whew.
But that over there, though,
Whew, that's expensive.
yeah, I hear you.
You know what I mean? Then that's
you.
the type of albums you make. You make that expensive shit where it's that, I don't want to go, it's that boom bap rap. It's that shit that like, it's got jewels, B. You know what I mean?
So, I mean, I don't know, man. I think maybe even without it being in the form of like a tweet or whatever, I've gotten enough responses in the form of a phone call, in the form of a text, where I'm just like, okay, I understand that that's how you feel as an artist, as a peer in terms of the project, you know. I think for me that was enough, you know, where I can safely just be like, okay, you know what, even my peers feel like, okay, this one, yabona lena. I think maybe everything was kind of building up to this moment, you know. So yeah, I don't think my brain doesn't even go if we were in a different space or whatever, you know. It's
apologies, but like, you know, I am I'm a hip hop head, right?
Yeah.
You know, we could always do stuff with guys that we gonna get it, but this what's important about it is that yes, cool, good dudes can text you.
Yeah.
But I think that like what you've done in that album, you on your own, because I'm gonna use international artists so no one gets ideas.
Yeah.
You know, Young Thug, The Baby, they do a facet of what hip hop is, which needs to get out there.
Sure.
And it needs all the mediums to be pushed out.
Got you.
You know what I mean?
Got you.
Like it's like when Funkmaster Flex literally has like Black Thought rapping, and everyone that actually knows what that is, even on a level of I'm a mainstream artist. Oh, but that's that.
Yeah, got you.
So for me, it's like I think you're showing another facet of hip hop that, to a certain extent, is not just about lyricism, but it's storytelling, and you rap, your weaving of like vernacular is not like hard. It's not like it just sinks in like easily.
Yeah.
And I think that you're one of the few that does it, and we should show that. I'm not saying you should go triple platinum and people are not, but people should know, even if they're not buying that shit, and they should go, that's why you can know about Isn't This a Sin to and all that spirituality and everything you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because that's what hip hop does.
Got you.
You know what I mean?
Okay, all right. From that angle, I get you.
You know, I mean, look, it's just my view, you know, but like I got my own views, you know.
Broadcast live